Good morning. Thank you for all joining us today. This is an exciting and special occasion for the Denver Broncos and our community. We're thrilled to announce the signing of Justin Simmons to a new 4-year contract. I'd like to welcome Justin's wife, Taryn, and their little girl, Lainey, to the UC Health Training Center. Thanks for joining us today, and it was great to meet you and spend a little time on Friday together. This day would not be possible without the work of a lot of people, and that starts with Justin. Justin was a third-round pick back in 2016. Hard work, dedication paid off. He became an All-Pro, a Pro Bowl safety. He has all the tools to be the very best. Smart, instinctive, athletic, rangy. He's a natural ball hawk, 20 career interceptions, and he's just scratching the surface. We believe he'll only get better, and he's going to help us win a lot of football games moving forward. Off the field, Justin's equally impressive. 2-time Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year nominee. That is extremely rare. His work in the community is a big part of who he is, whether that's through his foundation or his weekly visits to our Boys and Girls Club. It's something we're incredibly proud of. As an organization, it's something we embrace. And as I told Justin the other day, we look forward to supporting him and partnering with him. I also want to thank John Elway, Matt Russell, the entire college scouting staff for recognizing not only the football ability of Justin, but the character he embodied when he came out of Boston College. Also want to recognize Rich Hurtado. These deals take time, and Rich spent countless hours trying to get this deal done and did a remarkable job of doing that. Also, Todd France, Justin's agent, one of the best in the business, put a lot of work in there, and I want to thank Todd for everything he did to get this deal accomplished. And then Joe Ellis. Joe's given us all the resources we've needed the past week to sign the players that we've signed, including Justin, and we couldn't have done it without Joe. And then finally, just over the last couple of years, Justin's thrived in Vic Fangio's system, and with that, I'll turn it over to Vic.
Thanks, George. Obviously, I can echo everything George just said as it relates to Justin. I think everybody knows about his good play on the field. That speaks for itself. But he does quarterback our secondary and plays a major role in our entire defense from a on-field leadership job that he does for us and does very well. He's here on a daily basis, shows up and plays every game. Those are things that you sometimes take for granted, but we as coaches do not, and that's played a big part in his success. And the exciting thing is I think he can even get better. He's definitely young enough to get better. He'll work to get better, and we'll do a better job of coaching him. And I think he still has better football to be seen by everybody moving forward, and we're looking forward to that. And obviously he's a great dresser. You guys can see it there. He was the one guy during the year when we said we could wear sweats on the away games towards the end. He still had his suit ready to go. So, but the suit, he's a classy suit wearer, and he's a classy guy. His off-field work, you guys are all aware of, like George said, the 2-time Walter Payton Award winner speaks volumes for everything he's done off the field, and we're excited and happy to have him back in the fold.
Yeah, I just want to open up by saying thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wanted to say thank you to Joe Ellis, John Elway, the whole organization. Obviously, George coming in and helping me reach my dreams and just being back, and I'm just so thankful because this whole time you have this scenario playing out in your head, and you want to just be where you're wanted. And obviously, I was wanted here, and I just wanted to be here, and I'm just so thankful. It's just such a surreal moment for me, and I'm just thankful for George. I'm thankful for Rich. Thankful for Coach Vic, our whole coaching staff. They've been nothing but supportive this whole time and really helping me focus in what could be a really mentally straining time and going through all the different things. And thankful for just so many people. I feel like I go down a whole list. I'm thankful for my parents. This has been, I said it on the way over here talking with my wife. It's like a weird celebratory like event because it's really just the beginning, not like the end goal here. And but it was just nice to go over the phone with them and just have a moment. A lot of emotions on that call. Thankful for my brothers. I'm thankful for my whole support staff, and they'll know who I'm talking about. And thankful for Todd, my agent, and just helping me with all the decision making and all the things that can go on, in a world where you get taken advantage of, so easily, in this business. I'm just so thankful for him and helping me with each step along the journey. And, last but not least, I'm just so thankful for my wife and my daughter. They've been the real, cornerstone of this whole thing for me. And I can't imagine, a life without them and having them next to me and just helping me with every tough decision that, I've had to go through. And, I'm just so thankful for both of you guys, and thank you so much. And obviously the most thankful for my relationship with God and my relationship with Christ, and just helping me stay, focused and humbled and everything along the journey. And I'm just so thankful for this platform to be able to just to shed his love and his light. And so thank you guys. And also thankful for you guys in the media. You've been nothing but great for both myself and my family. And I know it's not the easiest thing in the world to do media. So thank you for you guys always being so supportive of myself, my foundation, everything that I've been a part of here for the past 5 years, and really looking forward to the next 4.
Start with some questions, Troy.
Justin, congratulations. This question will ultimately be for the group, but first, Justin, you've made Pro Bowl, you've been All-Pro, now you've cashed in. How much motivation is there for you now to experience the winning for this franchise? And with Coach Vic and George, why is it so important to have Justin here as you try to rebound and get back to the winning ways this franchise is known?
Me first? Yeah, for everything that I said earlier, I believe he's a top safety in the NFL, but it's everything else he brings to the table, within the locker room, out in the community. It's hard to find a really good football player, but it's really hard to find, someone that is out in the community like Justin, and who's a leader in the locker room. So that's why it was a priority since the day I arrived to get Justin locked up.
Well, I'll just echo what I had said before. I mean, it's one thing to find really good players, which Justin is. That's hard enough. But then when you have, you're able to quarterback your secondary and help quarterback your defense, which now you've become a multiplier. You're helping other guys become better. Those players are hard to find. So, it was never a doubt in my mind that we didn't want him back and he wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and I think for me, like you said, having the individual, accolades is great, but this is a team effort, a team game, and the past 5 years, and being here, being a part of, couple losing seasons, it's about time to be on the opposite side of that and start winning some football games. And I think for me, the challenge, moving forward, obviously there's a lot of things I can do individually to get better. Echoing what Coach Vic said, I don't even think I've played personally my best ball, but what I'm really looking forward to is finding a way for the team's success. And I think individually, obviously there's things that I can do, like I just said, to get myself better, but what can I do from a team aspect, defensively? How can I push the guys, offensively? How can I make sure that we're competing, to the highest level every day, and making sure that we're doing the things week in and week out. So, when it comes to it, we're winning those close games instead of just being close. And I think that's where we've been the past couple of years. And I'm just excited because I know that, that kind of falls under my shoulders as a leader on this team and on the defense. And I'm just excited for it. I've never been one to shy away from opportunity, and this is a big one. I'm ready for it.
Justin will have one here for you in a second, but George and Vic, what do you guys remember about scouting Justin in 2016 or your evaluations before coming to Denver? And then Vic, how is that compared to how he's played here? And George, for you, kind of the close film study you've done on Justin?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I watched Justin when he came out. I left that up to Donatel, and geez, we could have had him in the what round were you drafted in? Third or fourth?
Third, last of the third.
Last of the third. We could have had him, But I don't remember a whole lot, to be honest with you. But I'm glad we got him now.
He had a lot of the same traits you see now. The thing I remember is he needed to get stronger. He wasn't fully developed, but you saw the range, you saw the ball skills, you saw the ability to play in space. But he was just undersized a little bit. He hadn't grown into his body yet. I think the entire league missed on him because he lasted to the end of the third round. But no, and then since he's come here, he's gotten stronger, he's gotten bigger, more confident, and so, yeah.
Is there a play or a moment in your NFL career that made you realize I can be one of the top guys? I'm not a role player anymore.
Yeah, honestly, it was just I've always been just, go get the football, interception type of guy. And so it was just my first interception my rookie year. My first start, actually, when we played the Chiefs in Kansas City. And, it was a ball that I believe it was Corey Nelson hit Alex Smith, and ball kind of got lobbed in the air a little bit. But, my first pick just kind of set the trail, I guess, in just in terms of confidence and knowing, I can do this. And, it was just kind of, after that, it was just taking bits and pieces of, so many people along the way, taking it, incorporating it into not only film study, but how to be a pro, how to take care of your body, all those things, and just taking bits and pieces from so many veterans that I've learned from over the years. And, that's been the biggest thing. So I would probably say the Kansas City play, just getting my first pick under my belt and then playing with the utmost confidence from there.
Justin, we saw in the phone call that George had with you that he thinks you're the best safety in the league. This contract, I think, reflects sort of that insight from the team. Is that something that you had always thought of for yourself? Was that a goal to kind of be considered the best safety in the NFL?
Oh, for sure. I think that's what comes with the competitive spirit and nature of the game. There's so many great safeties. Obviously, in the history of our league, a lot of them have played here, but just in the league today. And, I want to make sure that I'm competing with those guys and at the top of those charts individually from an individual aspect, not just year in and year out, but week in and week out, making sure I'm competing at the highest level with them. And, we got a couple of really, really, really good ones. And so this isn't, I don't think this is something that's, reflective of, just like this previous season or anything like that. I think this is going to be, for me, this is a big opportunity for me to really cement myself for years and years and years to come. And like I said, from an individual aspect, of course, but more importantly, from a team goal, right? I want to make sure that we're winning, getting back to winning our division, getting back into the playoffs, hosting home playoff games, and those are some of my team goals that I want to get back to. And I'm just, like I said, man, I wish we could start tomorrow and just get this thing going.
Hey, Justin, what do you think about some of the other teams' moves, or some of the team's other moves this year? Darby, Fuller, and then Vaughn, Shelby, and how's specifically those quarterback additions going to help you out?
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. Last year was, was tough. Just I think we played, both Kareem and I played with maybe 10 different corners. It was just a weird year with COVID and injuries and everything that was going on. But man, I'm really excited. I've been an admirer of both, Darby and Fuller's game, just from afar. Obviously, I watched a lot of Kyle, when I was watching, Vic's tape coming over from Chicago, and just watched a lot of, him and Eddie Jackson and Amos and those guys, and just watching how, they all worked, just it felt like they were all just like one unit working together, always on the same page. And so that's what I wanted to emulate and maximize and even, get to a higher tier of here. And so watched a lot of Kyle, really excited to have him as a teammate, man. I think, having him, there's just going to be more, at our disposal of being able to work at a higher level, in the defense, and Darby as well, watching that, that Philadelphia Super Bowl run and watching him make plays. And even last year, I think they were, if I'm not mistaken, maybe second or first, in defensive standings, and watching him compete week in and week out against, some of the best receivers in the league. We're set up to make something happen. And once again, that's going to fall on, my shoulders as the leader in the secondary, and I'm going to make sure that, whatever happens week in, week out, the secondary is going to be good to go, and we're going to compete at the highest level.
And then quick follow-up on Harris. I mean, he talked about how his contract, yours, just kind of speaks to if you work hard, you'll get that deal, and kind of a culture shift. Do you see that, or any thoughts on that? Yeah, for sure. And I think I just think it's great for multiple reasons, obviously, but I think also, we got guys here that, can really play, younger guys, right? Guys like Cortland, guys like Chubb, guys like Noah. And I think it's important for them to, to see that, they're going to be taken care of. And if they just, play to the level that they've been playing at, and just make sure they keep doing the things that they need to do, and, they'll be taken care of. And that's always important because, a lot of the game is a lot more mental than, I think a lot of people tend to believe. And so, for those guys going out there week in and week out, knowing they're putting their bodies on the line, and knowing that, whatever happens, I know that if I'll give 100%, and obviously that work is showing on my productivity on the field, I'll be taken care of. And I think that's just a reflection of, both Shelby and I, and guys like Mike Purcell as well, and things like that. So I'm really excited. I haven't really been around, with the pandemic and everything, but just being in here on Friday and back in, obviously, today, that's definitely something that I feel.
Couple of things, Justin. Congratulations. Over the last 12 months, obviously you've been franchise tagged twice, and now you get this deal. What was kind of the ebb and flow mentally like for you, wondering, might this get done, might this not get done? What was that like going back and forth over that time?
Yeah, it was really only tough after getting tagged the first time, just because you're in a spot, but then the pandemic hit, and mentally it was just tough because you understood all of the reasoning why, and it just was tough that that time happened. And so I think getting through that season, mentally, that was probably one of my toughest seasons, because I've had to put so many selfish things to the side and go back to the team. And that's when I was giving my my thank yous earlier. I don't think I did a good enough job, starting to get a little too emotional, but I was thankful for Coach Vic and Coach Ed, and I said the coaching staff, because they know my character, and every week it felt like I was just being checked up on mentally. When I was away from home in the facility, and I always feel like I do a pretty good job checking my emotions at the door, but I'm human just as much as anyone else. And so I was just thankful for them checking up on me and just being there for me. And that's really why, I talked about, I want to be here. I didn't, I wasn't hiding it. I wanted to be here. I want to be back. I believe in so many things here from top to bottom. And it was just so good. And the second time getting tagged, it wasn't really a problem for me, because I wanted to be here once again, and I'll never forget, George called me maybe the same day or a day or two after, he just accepted the job as the GM, and we had a conversation, and it was one where I left the phone and I was like, this is definitely going to happen. And we didn't talk numbers or anything like that. It was just happy to be here. If you ever need me, call me. And I just left that conversation I can't wait. Whatever it's going to take, I'm going to be here. So I'm just thankful it's happening. And like I said, I'm getting, emotional juices are flowing. I just wish we could, start back today.
And second of all, what's the first thing that you're going to buy now that you got this deal?
Oh, the money question. That's a great one. The first thing I have to get is my daughter some hot chocolate after we leave here, because I promised her if she was good and she's not making too much noise right now, I'd get her some hot chocolate. But, man, there's a lot of things on both my wife and I's list. I think there's the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is, just being a steward of this and using it for the kingdom. And there's so many organizations out there that are doing such amazing work that, we have our hands full here, winning football games, but we would love to partner with, organizations like IJM, International Justice Mission, and, there's things that we have foundationally that we want to do, and then we're going to pour into doing that. And another thing that, we've talked about doing is kind of lifting up some of our not so good part of the communities back at home, and, building some places where, kids can get jobs maybe a little bit easier, and even some parents can get some jobs a little bit easier or more affordable, this, that, or the other. So we have a bunch of ideas that that we have in place in terms of like community outreach work and things in that nature that I think is going to be really special.
I've got one for Vic and George first, and then I have one for you, Justin. Vic and George, can you just talk about the importance of Justin's position in today's league, why it's important to have a player like him?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest change in the NFL over the last 15 years or so, and it's, becomes more and more that way every year, is the fullback has left the offense and it's been replaced by a wide receiver. So there's 3 wide receivers on the field a good bit of the time in the NFL anymore. And sometimes when it's not 3 wide receivers on the field anymore, there's a second tight end who really is a receiver in a tight end body. So to have safeties that can play the deep part of the field is important, but also to have safeties that when we want to bring them down and cover one of those 3 wide receivers or a really good tight end, that's part of the job description too now, and it happens more often. The game is more wide open, played on not on a bigger field per se, but the ball spreads around the field more than it used to. So the safety position has become a very, very important position, and we're very happy to have him here.
Tough to build on that with Vic, but I mean, as I mentioned before, it's a space and cover league, and no one can play in space and cover as good as Justin at safety in the NFL. So it's such a passing league, and his ability to play the run and play in space and blitz and cover tight ends, it's huge, to have that on your football team.
Justin, just for the record, your daughter's been a lot more better behaved than I have been too. So, you practice in here, you see the banners. This franchise has some lineage with safeties. Do you want to be part of that when your career is over?
Oh, yeah, of course, without a doubt. I mean, that's been motivation since day one. I mean, it's in here, it's in, our main building where we meet at, just across the way. And, that's, for me having, this contract and, the I guess like the titles that come with it, those expectations have already been a part of Broncos country since day one. Anyone that knows Broncos football knows the lineage of safeties and the play of the safeties that are in this program and that have been a part of this program. And so that's been expected of me since day one. And by no means am I even close to reaching that goal, but it's something that, I strive for all the time. And like I said, I've been so, blessed since day one I got in here. TJ, Darian Stewart, played, having the opportunity even, for a little bit playing with Kareem. I've learned so much from so many guys, and I've helped incorporate into my game, both with film study, how to take care of your body, things in that nature. And so, for me, there's really no added pressure in that regard, because it's been that way for me since day one, since I got in here as a 3rd round draft pick. And I'm just excited to keep going, because, as Coach Vic said earlier, I 100% agree. I don't even think I've played, my best ball yet. And there's so much more for me to learn and so much more for me to, to take in and to incorporate into on the field and, to just keep doing that.
Yeah, Justin, one for Coach. Justin, last year, I think with the franchise tag, you said that you were gambling on yourself. I think you said something like that. Do you feel like you won? You gambled and you won now that you got this deal?
Yeah. And, that was all part of the process of understanding, the situation and knowing that, the pandemic, is what it is last year when, playing under the tag and unfortunately not being able to come to, a long-term agreement. But, after the season, was said and done, I think, with the circumstances that, every team had to deal with, but, especially our team on the defensive side of the ball with so many rotating bodies and so many injuries. And then, still, at least individually, still being able to reach some of the goals I had for myself. I definitely feel like that is something that, I've accomplished. But like I said, now it's not even about, or not even now, but just in general, it's never really been about the individual's success. And that's why I'm just so thankful for my coaches, because they've, all last year, what can I do more? Having like a decent game, like what could you have done more to help, this person or this person? What could you have done more for our defense? And you ended up making the play, but here's what could have happened if you made the right check instead, and it could have helped our team in general. But those are the conversations that I've had, and so that's really what I'm looking forward to, is building on that and growing in that.
Speaking of that, Coach, you said he can get even better. How so?
Well, I don't see a glaring weakness, but I do think there's things that he can do better on a more, maybe, we're looking for 20 better plays, and then you don't know when they're going to happen, which may involve him getting a few more picks, which may involve him making a critical tackle over the course of a season. We're not talking about wholesale betterment, but everything's so tight in the NFL. If we can find him 10, 20 to 25 more better plays than maybe he's had so far in his career over the course of the 17 games, I guess we're playing, that's what I'm talking about. A couple more picks, a couple more crucial stops in the tackling area, and the things that aren't even statistical, of just even a better job of leading the secondary and affecting the whole defense. And there's some players they're good players that need a caddy out there. You know what I mean by caddy? Well, he's a good player and he caddies for others. So those are hard to find.
Justin first, and then George and Coach. You kind of alluded to you thought it would get done. You weren't as worried about the second tag, but how nice is it that it did get done and you don't have to think about skipping stuff in the spring or into the summer and going all the way up until that deadline?
Yeah, it's really nice because I feel like I keep harping on it because I just wanted to be here and be around the guys, and I love our locker room, love the coaches, and so I wanted to be here, and then I know how important it is, to be here day one, even if the system's still the same, you have new people, and it's important day one to really build those bonds and to get everyone on the same page as close as possible. So going into training camp and into the season, you're maximizing your time as a unit so that you could play to the best of your abilities, because that's something that I saw how important it was, especially after last year, missing, and we didn't have OTAs for the most part, but doing over Zoom meetings and things like that. So I just know how important that is to take that away, and I'm just excited. I'm excited to finally just put all that to the side now and just focus on football again.
And then for George and Coach, kind of the same thing. How nice is it to have it done? You said it was a priority, but from the practical financial standpoint, and then so that we don't ask you about it every time you talk to us from now until July.
That is nice. I've been asked about it, I think, every time I've been available. So this is one less question. So it is nice. It's also nice to reward your own and get them, to the second contracts. and Shelby, and there'll be others. And so it's really nice to reward players that deserve it, and Justin definitely deserved it.
Yeah, I'm glad it's done, obviously. I was, through my conversations with Justin over the last year, 12 months, they weren't lots of conversations, but I made it known to him pretty much that we wanted him back. He made it known to me that he'd like to stay here. So I knew the contract process would play out. How long, I didn't know, but I was confident we'd have him back, and I'm glad it's official now.
Just because we didn't ask you about Shelby, and you've been saying all year what a great year he had, and then to have Shelby back too? Obviously,
yeah. I mean, obviously, before George and Rich started negotiating with him, they asked me my opinion. Not that my opinion is the ultimate, but I was all for getting Shelby back. I think Shelby had a very good season last year. It got interrupted with his 2 bouts of COVID. One wasn't his, but it was contact tracing. And then at the end of that, he did get it. And so he missed 4 or 5 games there in a row. And then wasn't quite, I think he only played 1 more game after, or maybe 2. And he was still feeling the effects of it. But I thought he played very, very well prior to all that. And I still think he has a lot of good football left in him. And the contract thing last year at this time didn't go his way, and he handled it correctly. We talked about it a couple times, him and I, and things that he needed to do to improve himself, which will ultimately improve his free agency this time, and he did that, so credit to him.
Hey, Vic, got 2 for you. What'd you like about Darby's tape to show he'd be a fit for your system?
Yeah, I liked his cover ability. It's pretty simple when you're looking at corners. Can the guy cover somebody? That you need to check that box first. And I think he's got natural cover skills, both in man and zone. And as a corner, even when you're playing zone, many times it ends up being man anyway. So he can cover. We like his cover ability. I think he has good instincts, for the game, both in man and zone. And I think he's a willing tackler. And he alluded to that. I saw a quote from him during his press conference. And we still think he has a lot of football left in him. I still think he's young. He's got an athletic body. He can run fast, and I think he's still got a lot of football left in him. And we're really happy to get him.
And secondly, bringing Vaughn back, how confident are you that he can return to the 9, 10, 11 sack form?
Yeah, I think, we had a lot of injuries last year, which you guys are all aware of. But one of the ones that was most disappointing and hard to take was his, not because of who he is, but, I saw a guy that was in the best shape that I had seen him in 2 years. People that had been here longer than me said the same thing. He had a focus and a desire for last season, and then for him to get that freak injury in first week game preparation right around this part of the field here was very, very disappointing, because I think he was primed to have a really good season. And I mean really good season by his standards. And hopefully he's going to do the same thing he did what he did last offseason. He'll do it and come back in great shape also.